Hello and welcome back to CBR MTG. My name is Angus Mackay. I'm joined here by Frank Karamarudis.
Hello.
We are at GP Sydney 2018, as you can see by the beautiful Mutavault playmat that we got as a promo.
I wanted it.
And the beautiful CBR MTG playmat that we frequent on our videos. We're going to play some Legacy this time with Nicholas Zappacosta on Elves and Tim Gott on Aggro Loam.
Yeah, I'm a little bit less experienced with Legacy than I am other formats. I usually tend to stay near the
modern table.
The modern and the standard, whatever I can do at PPTQs.
Yeah, sure. That's but you did play a little bit of Elves on the weekend, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a great time, and so clearly I am the premier.
Yeah, exactly.
Premier source on good Elves play.
Well,
so
you are the guy who knows most about Elves in this room, so don't you worry about that. Also joined secretly in the corner by Nicholas Fennell, so he will be he is the king of Elves, so we'll see if we can hold up to his charm. On the other side we've got Tim on Aggro Loam. Aggro Loam, I haven't seen it in a little while, but still a good deck, still hanging around. For those of you who don't know, it's kind of like lands a little bit, I suppose, but it just plays a lot more creatures. It plays primarily Abzan splash red, but we'll see what comes out of it. The Knight of the Reliquary sort of really shows you the difference between Aggro Loam and just sort of basic lands.
it seems like it's focusing less on the combos that you have in the lands decks, i.e. like the Dark Depths combo.
Yeah.
And you're focusing more on the just lots of value lands and the Punishing Fire and kind of grindiness of Wasteland and like Exploration or Life from the Loam.
Yeah, exactly.
And having
Grove
these...
Grove of the Burn Willows and Punishing Fire, greatest combo in all Legacy. So if you want to do a grindy hey. If you want to do a grindy game, this is where you want to be. And we're seeing some new tech, I think, coming out of, if I'm not mistaken, coming out of Amonkhet with Randomap Excavator, if that's what I see in his hand. But that's sort of a pretty good card in this build, because you're playing a lot of Wastelands and you're going to be stripping it as much as you can. And
I mean, it's a Crucible that can punch you in the face. So
yeah, exactly. Yep.
I'm pretty happy with
Crucible, that. Exactly. So he's discarded. This is pure value. He's discarded the Ghost Quarter to Mox Diamond, and now he's going to play it again off the Randomap Excavator and go for that Ghost Quarter. So, I mean, Elves being primarily mono green, as most good Elves are. He's going to have to try a little bit harder to get him off basic lands with this Ghost Quarter, but it's not impossible. Well, I mean, good Elves builds don't play that many basics.
Yeah, so surprisingly, depending on the splash that he's doing, he probably only has 2 to 3 basics.
Yeah.
And if he has that black splash, I'm pretty sure that it's only 2.
Well, he's playing right into this Wasteland in his hand as well, because he's just going to play the Wasteland, and now your Ghost Quarters are more powerful because Nick can't decide whether or not he should be fetching out Bayous, or if he should be fetching out basic forests.
I think
kind of in a bit of a lock right now.
Yeah, it's a bad time for poor Nick because he has no Elves and he has almost no lands. But seeing the Ghost Quarter in the battlefield and the Crucible on a stick, I think he just had to get the Bayou and hopefully play something and see if he can build a board presence before he's going to die to Knight, which is an incredibly quick clock.
Yeah, that Knight's getting bigger and bigger all the time, but land destruction isn't exactly the thing that will win Tim the game. It's because Nick's going to play a lot of Elves, and those Elves, like most Elves, tap for mana. So we'll see how far he can get with this. But
Quirion Ranger is a really good card in this, just because it offers some form of protection against the land destruction.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not a good card against poor Punishing Fire.
Yeah.
But, you know.
He's going to hope to probably get a Wirewood Symbiote down as well, just to kind of just protect himself a little bit more. But his Gaia's Cradle, unfortunately, only tapped for 2, so this Glimpse of Nature is not the combo Glimpse of Nature. It only tapped for 1?
Yeah.
That's a big shame. Yeah, we'll see here that just not getting that value and immediately getting ghost quartered out of the game, which is probably fine, but it's going to be a really grindy game from here.
No, there it is. Okay. Yeah. I think the big thing right now is that he can't really Punishing Fire more than once.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, he can only get one solid target.
Yep.
And that's going to give Nicholas hopefully a chance to begin building his board.
Yeah. He's also got the backup plan. He's opted not to tap this Knight of the Reliquary, so he's probably maybe thinking about going for the combo kill as well, because this deck does play the Dark Depths Thespian Sage combo. Yep. Just as a little backup plan, just as a little spicy.
Just does everything, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Legacy's a scary place.
Yeah, Legacy's a scary place. But he's definitely he's holding it up. There's no real reason to hold it up except to try and get that combo out. But Knight of the Reliquary can only do half the job at the moment because he doesn't have the lands required to get both pieces of the combo.
I think the other thing to note with the Knight is that he can get more Grove of the Burn Willows, if that's his plan.
Okay.
Because Punishing Fire is probably going to be one of the best cards in this matchup, just because it does kill everything in his deck. And so, like, keeping the Knight open means that he can get the second Grove of the Burn Willows, which will give him 2 triggers to do exactly what he was doing, is protect his Punishing Fires, because they are kind of the most important card right now.
It's a shame that he has 2 in his graveyard, because Nicholas, God, he had to work pretty hard to get that Punishing Fire off the battlefield, activating his Scavenging Ooze twice through Tim's double Grove.
He's close to infinite mana, though.
Yeah, look, here we are.
It's a strong, like, infinite mana is kind of an exaggeration, but, like, with a Heritage Druid and a Kyrion Ranger, like, he can do a lot of things.
Yeah, Heritage Druid, absolute all-star in this matchup. Just especially when you're glimpsing off and you have a couple of Nettle Sentinels, like, you just nearly have infinite mana, you know, and then you eventually get that big hoof on the battlefield.
Does a lot of things. Very impressed with it.
And we're going to see the Abrupt Decay. It seems that Tim agrees with us, taking out that Heritage Druid almost immediately.
Birchlore Rangers, on another note, is like a mini Heritage Druid. It's not as good at all, but I play a lot of Pauper in paper, and I play Elves, and Birchlore Ranger is a very good time. So
yeah, absolutely.
There was only one of the ones that I was playing this weekend, but I really, really like the card. And it does do a fair job of being a mini Heritage Druid.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we might see that.
Yeah, we'll see what comes out of it. He might opt to...
No, got a better one.
He's just got the Heritage Druid again, the backup Heritage Druid. So, God, we're floating 3 green. We have 2 untapped mana sources as well, and he hasn't made a land drop, so we could be in for a good time. I think a Glimpse of Nature would probably be pretty clutch in this situation. We'll see what he opts to go for, but Natural Order can also do pretty well, but... It's going to be a hard one. I think he's just eating that graveyard pretty aggressively with the Scavenging Ooze, using that 3 mana to just eat Tim's graveyard, knowing how much he uses it. Completely reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, it is called Aggro Loam for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
And getting rid of the recursion effects through life from the Loam means that he's just playing on board. And his things are kind of worse than... What did he discard? Oh, Rex Sage.
Oh, he's not discarding it. He's just playing it out normally. Getting rid of that Mox Diamond.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Systematically breaking down Tim's board state, and I think that's what you need to do in this matchup.
Nick's done very, very well to come back from this, because it was looking pretty bad for him. I mean, like, he had like nearly no elves on the battlefield. Tim had a giant knight, and he was... strip locking him with Ghost Quarters, or trying his very hardest, but it seems that Tim's going to just try and push some lands out of his deck to make his knight bigger, and maybe just go for a big swing, because like Nick's just going to take this damage no matter what it is. He's not going to chump block. He needs it as many elves as he can possibly get, so Tim may as well make his graveyard as big as possible.
Yeah, I think that the other thing that he wants to do with Knight of the Reliquary is create a... Ooh, had a voice crack. I'm 12. It's
fair enough.
It's going through that. Where'd he cast those lands? Oh, the double, yeah. Where'd he get... Oh, okay.
So he got the Savannah. He's got the Verdant Catacombs out of the graveyard again, still getting that value. Nick's probably going to try and eat some more cards while he has the chance. It seems that Tim might be passing the turn, just trying to make his Knight bigger. He's running out of time though. Like Nick's got almost critical mass of cards. Like soon he'll be going off, and then Tim won't be able to do anything about it.
I mean, I do think the other thing to note is that he is at 4 mana now, which is the correct amount of mana you need to do the Dark Depths combo, right?
Yeah.
So...
Well, does he have the Depths in hand? No, it seems like a Maze of Ith and a Swamp.
I think that's actually... Yeah, it's a Maze of Ith.
Yeah.
Cool.
Maze of Ith, really good interaction with Knight. So you can swing with the Knight and then untap it after the damage is dealt, because it's still an attacking creature.
Oh.
So you can get some good value out of it for sure.
Legacy, you so scary.
Legacy. Tapping a bit of mana here. There might be a Natural Order coming up. We'll see what comes out of it. But look, whenever I verse Elves, they just tap and bounce and tap and bounce. I don't even bother to care. Look, here we go. It seems that Nick's taking his time to find out the optimal line. He is going to get that Natural Order for that Cradle Hoof and then end the game immediately. That Natural Order is very, very good when you're not facing off any counter spells. You can just kind of plan around winning immediately that turn, you know? Winning immediately, usually pretty good strategy as well.
Yeah. I think he had to do it in one turn. The reason being that the swing back could be pretty huge with that Knight.
Yeah.
So, waiting until he kind of had a board say, and it didn't look like Tim was going to do anything, was perfect for him to get that extra, 5 creatures attacking with +5/+5 trample.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't actually seen any Dark Depths or Thespian stages, so look, maybe I was incorrect, maybe this build is different, but seems like a good inclusion, if you ask me. Coming out of sideboards now, just having a little rejig of the hand cams.
And Tim actually had a main deck Chalice, which is huge against Elves, because, everything's 1 mana. So.
Yeah, exactly. He's got a lot of cards to bring in, which is probably good. The Containment Priest, I'm not 100% sure of the 2 of, but, look, you could definitely can get him off that Green Sun Zenith or the Natural Order.
I think the Natural Order swing with all my idiots win is probably what Tim is worried about, and I think that having the Containment Priest just available to be like, haha, joke's on you, you just lost a creature and spent 4 mana, is probably what he wants. He's taking out Dark Confidant just because in this matchup it's probably not great. He shaped some number of them. Yeah,
I think Tim probably just has to take the control route at this point. It's like Nick can probably surmise that Tim's going to bring in some kind of disruption, and also if he's ever versed Aggro Loam before, he'll know that Chalice is possibly on the cards. So he's got that Rexage mainboard as we saw before, but
Abrupt Decay. He's probably bringing in Abrupt Decay.
He definitely bring in Abrupt Decay. That's definitely an option.
Which is something I did not know when I played against lands during the weekend. Luckily, I confidently played some creatures into Chalice, and he let me have them, and I won. It was great.
That was very good. So Nick's definitely bringing in some Fairy Macabres, taking out a Dryad Arbor and a Natural Order as far as I could see, and also a couple of bits and bobs. But I think Dryad Arbor might be a bit of a liability in this instance as well, because dies to Punishing Fire pretty quickly, and if you're trying to go for that ramp of the turn 1 Green Sun Zenith into Dryad Arbor, then you could get blown out by Punishing Fire and then sort of lose that turn.
Yeah, it's just so vulnerable.
Yeah.
And not only does Tim have this Punishing Fire, but he also has land destruction. And so, there's so many ways to kill this poor 1/1 forest that, it's probably...
Just doesn't want to deal with that.
Not worth it in this. Tim did take out Lilianna the Veil just because Discarding cards isn't a huge problem for Elves, but also because they're such a horde deck, you have a -2 that essentially does nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah,
go
it's kind of
wide
a dead
strategy
card.
is not very good against Lilianna.
Lilianna of the Last Hope, though.
That's a good card.
Very good.
Oh yeah, that's a uptick kill target elf. Very very good in this matchup. We'll see. We'll see what type of hands they kept, but it's funny how they decided to sideboard.
Hands down.
Yeah. Look, any hand with a Mox Diamond is an overpowered hand, that's for sure. So he's got turn 1 Punishing Fire if he so chooses. He's definitely got it in hand. So it could be worth just whatever he plays, just killing it immediately, because those 1-drops, they really start the game off well, and as we can see, a Death Threat Charm is a good excuse.
Yeah, I was going to say I could see wanting to keep the Punishing Fire out of his hand, or out of his graveyard, just because it is vulnerable there.
Yeah.
But Lilianna of the Last Hope does not actually deal with Death Ray Shaman. So that was a pretty good choice. Because having a turn 2 Lilianna also kills anything that he's going to play, except for Death Ray Shaman. So
also Death Ray Shaman's secret tech against Aggro Loam, because you're eating all his lands.
What a surprise.
Yeah.
So we're seeing lots of shuffling. That's a fun part of Magic. We don't really discuss it a lot, but it is
it's worthy
integral.
of mention. It's worthy of mention. I was just saying the interesting part about the sideboarding choice is that Tim's taken out his mid-range cards, taken out his Lilianna or the Veil, and trying to go for a little bit more controlling strategy, whereas Nick took out his combo pieces to try and turn his deck into a grindy matchup, so we'll see if that matches up for them. Tim's not going for that Lilianna or the Veil, possibly wanting to surprise his opponent. You don't see Lily too often, but I guess keeping up the I think Containment Priest could be a good idea as well.
Yeah, so he drew Containment Priest during his turn, and I think that might be what he wants. He wants to kind of take out that Green Sun Zenith value that it looked like he might have. However, what card is not good against Lilianna the Last Hope is Wirewood Symbiote, because it cannot bounce itself, and it's just full of sadness as it dies.
Yeah, Wirewood Symbiote's like pretty unopposing. I mean, it doesn't look like it's displaying a threat, but it's actually one of the most powerful cards in Elves, just because if you try to kill any of their Elves, they'll bounce it with Wirewood Symbiote. So it's kind of like giving all your Elves Shroud, because you have to kill the Wirewood Symbiote before it actually means anything.
Yeah, the card is surprisingly good. I did not respect the little insect before I played Elves, and now he's my all-star.
Yeah, surprisingly pretty poor flavor, because the Wirewood Symbiote is eating an elf.
No, that's the whole point.
Yeah, but that's not good to eat the elf. Why would you eat the elf if you're in the elf deck?
Because you're using it for sustenance, and it's a symbiotic relationship, and clearly the Wirewood Symbiote is doing his best to be a part of that symbiotic relationship. Okay,
completely reasonable. We're getting the aggro beats coming out of Containment Priest. I mean, I see the value. I really I kind of have a bit of tunnel vision with Containment Priest, wanting to kind of get your opponent, but just playing it out at end of turn, like, it's not going anywhere without an Abrupt Decay. So you may as well just keep that threat on the board and also beat down with it.
It's interesting that Nicholas did not get a forest. Just because now he has little protection against, like, Wasteland. Yeah. But it was also an important thing to note that he just glimpsed for 1, because glimpse, while everyone always wants to have those, like, wonderful turns where they get to draw 7 cards and make a huge, like, board. Yeah. Glimpse has a second mode where it's just value, because it's still only 1 mana. And so I think that is a really important thing that you need to know if you're going to play Elves, is that Glimpse is not your win-all.
Yeah, sometimes it's good to just refill your hand with.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to do it and set yourself up for the next turn.
Totally reasonable. It's bizarre that he chose the Abrupt Decay over just killing... Oh, because Nettle Sentinel is a 2/2. One of the only Elves that's a 2/2. So, I mean, tick up with Lilianna, and then I was why don't you just kill the Nettle Sentinel? But no. It's a 2/2. Strongest elf in all of the multiverse.
Well, look, almost.
Look, we're seeing Tim just sort of get ahead, hitting every land drop, as is normal for these aggro Loam decks, but He's opting also to tick down on the Scavenging Ooze, and that's a real clock. He's almost at the point where Lilianna will be able to ultimate and give him a bunch of zombies, which will just finish the game by herself. But ticking down on the Scavenging Ooze so that he can swing freely with the Containment Priest is it's good tech.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that Lilianna not only can do this to deal with creatures, she can do it on an empty board.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so that's another important thing. He attacked first, right, into the Scavenging Ooze.
No. He ticked up first.
Did he tick up first?
Yeah, he ticked up first to so that Scavenging Ooze wouldn't be able to block, even if
it could block otherwise, right?
Well, I mean,
I guess you'd trade then.
Yeah, you could block profitably and maybe eat a creature. But I think he's just ensuring that Scavenging Ooze will not block this turn. He's definitely going to stop any future blocking coming out of the... he's definitely allowing any future blocking coming out of this Containment Priest because of the Scavenging Ooze being a 5/5. And he's priced to go after this Lilianna because she's gonna ulti soon. I was wondering, maybe looking at... I'm not sure if that's correct. Scavenging Ooze notably a 5/5, but
it gets -2/-1.
Oh, of course, until end of turn. Yeah,
yes.
Good
no, until the beginning of his next turn.
Okay, of course. So it's interesting that he decided not to just chump block with the Containment Priest. Must not have any sort of follow up action. But if you're gonna
attack
ulti
that turn.
But you just don't attack, and then you can hold up a chump block.
Ooh,
to get rid of Lilianna.
Toxic Deluge.
But this Toxic Deluge for 5 is going to be a good one. It's definitely taking out the Scavenging Ooze, leaving Lilianna, the last hope, available to tick up again.
And this is how Tim wins, is that as long as Nick has a empty board, he can't do anything.
Yeah.
Because the deck requires a board state in order to flourish.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, yeah, Tim is demonstrating his kind of exactly where he wants to be in this matchup.
He's definitely commanded a lead on this with this Lilianna, getting utmost value. Now, Nick can just play 3 1-drops. I saw a Nettle Sentinel, and God, I can only imagine there's more 1-drop Elves, but they're just going to die super slowly to this Lilianna the Val, so I guess we're going to opt to Glimpse and then just see how far we can go while Lilianna cannot be activated.
Yeah.
I guess
I like this combo because he did not play a land this turn. He's going to be able to get quite a bit of extra mana. So,
yeah. To flip it upside down just to... if you had the Dryad Arbor, you'd be able to untop the forest as well. But look, I think we're just okay to play out this land again, draw another card, at least establish your board presence a little bit more. Like, there's nothing... Oh, there's Heritage Druid. That's clutch. We still need 1 more mana. We might not have it, unfortunately, but...
yeah, he's a mana short of actually being able to go off with the Heritage Druid, but
that's true. Actually,
he does have protection for it.
Yep,
in that
Firewood Symbiote.
Yeah, and so I think this was a good setup turn. So as long as Tim does not get a Grove of the Burn Willows or just a removal spell, which is essentially, like, it's a hard ask. I think, in the state that we're in. But, it happens. That's how you win. You prepare yourself to win the game instead of not.
That is a good way to win, usually. The ticking up with Lilianna takes care of the Wirewood Symbiote, but yes, as you said, he will need another little bit of interaction to sort of stop the combo from happening. Unfortunately, we just don't have it, so we're going to play out this random map Excavator, play another land. Look,
that's
the
interesting.
Land choices are nil as well. Like, we're just gonna hit another fetch land, tick up Lilianna, tick down Lilianna. Interesting. All right, so we're just gonna tick down Lilianna, hopefully get the Containment Priest back. But Nicholas has other thoughts in mind. He's going to use this Fairy Macabre to get rid of some stuff before this Lilianna activation resolves.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of an ambitious choice for Tim to play the land before he used Lilianna as value, just because, the threat of a Wasteland is pretty good, and at worst he could get his Containment Priest back and then play a land. Yeah. So I think that was a bit of excitement on his part. But
it's definitely a good way to get things back, but he just wasn't expecting that Wasn't expecting that Fairy Macabre, as he's right to do, really.
Elves, you're so silly. What other deck can like play Progenitus and just be like, that's how I'm gonna win?
It's good for that grindy matchup, that's for sure. Containment Priest, Tim might have played this matchup a lot, but these 3 elves, 2 elves and 1 insect, it's not. It doesn't look very threatening at the moment, but as we said before, like elves can just turn 2 elves into 1,000,000 elves, you know, and then just win. Like he could win this turn. That's why I think he needed that Containment Priest.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Nick, with how many cards? 4 or 5 in his hand.
He's got a lot.
Yeah, Nick with 1,000,000 cards in his hand has the potential to kind of just win
combo.
very easily. And let's see what happens.
And Heritage Druid, very good combo. We'll see if we can play out another Nettle Sentinel to really rub it in. But we have 4 mana at the moment. We might just be going for that natural order. It's going to be a hard slog though, because
I don't think. I don't know if I agree with that yet, but I think the
Abrupt Decay, sure.
Abrupt Decay is pretty good. And yep, he got his trigger, which is important.
He's still got a bit of mana floating. It's up 4, so he's got 2 left.
2 green
mana. Yep. He's able to bounce back a land if he wants to try and go for it again, which he's opted to do, to untap his Heritage Druid. So if he plays 1 more elf, he'll be able to use the Heritage Druid again, and it seems pretty likely that he's going to be able to do that. We might be seeing a Elvish Visionary coming out of here, maybe drawing him another card.
Well, I think he might just natural order, right?
Okay, this is a better natural order than what we saw before.
Yeah, because he had 2 floating,
yep.
And because he has creatures that do not have summoning sickness, he's now going to attack for 1,000,000. And
there you go. So each creature gets +4/+4 and trample. They do not get haste, so the Nettle Sentinel will not be able to attack. But that's 5, 6, 7
lethal.
That's a lot. We're not even going to bother trying to take out that Lilianna. So yeah, there we go. As we said, the Containment Priest was kind of clutch in that matchup, and Nicholas having the foresight to take it out with the Fairy Macabre while he had a chance.
Yeah, that's good tech. I mean, you see that Nicholas kind of knew that was his game plan, in that he brought in the Abrupt Decays, the Surgicals, and the Fairy Macabres. So yeah, I think he did a pretty good sideboarding, and I mean, Tim, for his part, looked like he had all the preparation he could have done.
Engineered Plague as well. Like he's the
Golgari Charm is very rude.
Yeah.
If someone Golgari charms me while I have 7 1/1s, I am not going to be a happy man.
I'm out. Yeah, that's a pretty heavy sideboard for what we're doing, but it seems to have gone pretty well for him. He did take out those the Lilianas and the Dark Confidant Wasteland, but yeah, it just wasn't enough. He wasn't able to stop Nicholas from just taking over that game.
I think Elves, one of the bonuses of actually just the deck is that it's incredibly hard to play, but it's incredibly hard to play against as well.
Absolutely.
And if you can manufacture a situation where you can use this little bit of sideboard tech, you can just almost win in 1 turn without even trying.
Yeah,
it's pretty easy to do that. It's just knowing what lines you want to take.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we saw that Nick was pretty competent in that. So
absolutely, he did a great job. Well, congratulations to Nick for taking that one out 2-0. Stay tuned. There's lots more Legacy, Modern, and Highlander content coming out from this GP Sydney. Please stay tuned. This has been CBR MTG. Thanks, guys.